everybody, it's Dallin again from PlexTrac, and welcome into Byte Sized News for October 18th to October 24th, 2020. We've got an awesome 5-pack of informational cybersecurity news-related articles for you this week, including an update on Microsoft's legal battle, some election security information, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as I walk you through 5 of the most important cybersecurity news articles from the week. Our first story of the week is a follow-up one from Cyberscoop about Microsoft and Trickbot. Last week we reported on Microsoft's legal battle that granted the technology juggernaut control over many of the domains that Trickbot uses to deploy their botnets. After some initial doubts, it seems very clear that the full-frontal assault by Microsoft and Cyber Command has taken root. Microsoft reported on Tuesday that at the start of the week it had disabled 120 of the 128 command and control servers that Trickbot operated on to deploy those botnets. This is a 94% takedown rate, which is amazing to hear. Microsoft's takedown efforts have run parallel to the efforts by Cyber Command, which is a cyber offensive wing of the US Department of Defense. This effort has been made to largely ensure the cybersecurity of our upcoming 2020 presidential election. To read more about this article, you can click the first link below. Our next story from the week comes to us from SC Magazine and details steps that ransomware companies are taking to develop into more corporate-minded entities. Ransomware attacks have grown quickly and morphed into a billion-dollar business. With this growth, many ransomware companies are adopting many of the practices and techniques from the companies they target. These practices include joint partnerships between ransomware companies, the introduction of tools to measure their group's efficiency, the creation of playbooks and scripts to help in the negotiation phase, and even adopting many of the customer service and PR tactics from the corporate world. This shift has manifested itself quickly and can be seen from a more customer-friendly tone when talking to victims, all the way to widespread press release and marketing content to help drive more business. One quote from Brett Callow, who's a threat analyst at MSSoft: "You'll get better customer service from some ransomware groups than the IRS, though that's not setting a very high bar." You can read the full article by clicking the second link below. Our third article from the week comes from ThreatPost and details threats made toward some American voters this past week. Federal officials claim that email threats made towards Democratic voters claiming to be the violent group Proud Boys actually came from IP addresses in Iran. The attacks, which targeted Democrats in Alaska, Arizona, and Florida, claim they had all of the voters' information and that if they didn't vote for President Trump, there would be serious repercussions. These emails at first appeared to be from addresses linked to the far-right, male-only group Proud Boys. However, the attack did not come from the Proud Boys and appears to be in another attempt by Iran to mislead voters in America. Iran has been in the news previously for sending several campaigns worth of spoof emails that were designed to intimidate Americans, mislead voters, and compromise our democratic process. You can read all about this article by clicking the third link below. While our next story isn't strictly related to cybersecurity, it's huge news about Google, which is one of the biggest tech companies in the world. InfoSecurity magazine reports that a civil antitrust lawsuit has been filed against Google by the United States Department of Justice and 11 state attorney generals. This complaint alleges that Google has unlawfully maintained monopolies in search and search advertising through anti-competitive and exclusionary practices. One of the most high-profile claims is Google's long-term agreement with Apple, an agreement for Google to be the default search engine for all of their devices. Other accusations include the forced installation of many of Google's search apps on devices, installation that makes the apps undeletable. Additionally, there's a claim that Google has bought preferential treatment for its search engine on many devices, web browsers, and other access points. Many argue that these practices by Google have harmed their competitors by preventing them from getting vital distribution and scale. You can read all about this lawsuit against Google by clicking the fourth link below. Our last article on the week comes from SC Magazine. It details a URL spoofing vulnerability that could take mobile phone victims to fraudulent sites without their knowledge. The man who disclosed this vulnerability was Todd Beardsley, a director of research at Rapid7. Beardsley claims that most major browsers have since patched this vulnerability. However, this vulnerability is an instance of CWE 451 from the Common Weakness Enumeration. This is cause for concern because victims on mobile devices cannot tell the difference between the real site and the fake site they land on. In its most common form, the attack is carried out by having victims click on a link from a forum or social media site, or by receiving a text on their mobile phones with a link to the website. Once on the site, victims would be prompted to enter in personal information, whether that's login credentials or even credit card information. You can read the full article by clicking the last link below. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Byte Sized News for this week. Hopefully you learned something and got filled in on the most important cybersecurity articles from the week.